everybody, welcome to another episode of Wahoos Weekly, your weekly in-depth look at the Pensacola Blue Wahoos both on the field and off. I'm Blue Wahoos broadcaster Erik Bremer. He's my broadcast partner, Charlie Hobert. Blue Wahoos are on the road, Charlie, this week. In fact, they're in the second leg of their longest road trip of the year. A week in Chattanooga and a week in Rocket City, that is Madison, Alabama, just outside of Huntsville. So, Charlie, Blue Wahoos are in the second half, a clean break from the good and the bad of the first half. And we'll see, I guess, together how the Blue Wahoos fare with a bit of a different cast of characters here in half number two.
Yeah, I mean, they had some late call-ups. Late in the first half, Hobert, Cam Canarella, Juan Matthews. It's going to be exciting because, at the time of recording, we don't know if they have clinched a playoff spot. But if they have, that kind of opens the window a little more to send some of the well-performing players up. So it'll be exciting to see who the Wahoos have to say goodbye to and who the Wahoos get to say hello to, because there's a lot of talent down at that Beloit club.
Yeah, the Blue Wahoos got some talent from Beloit the last couple weeks. Cam Canarella joining Hobert as a ranked prospect in the organization. And what we've seen of Cam Canarella is pretty exciting. I mean, he plays a good center field. He hasn't stolen too many bases, but he does run well, and you get the sense that once he gets a chance to settle in, establish his own identity, he's going to be a very multi-tool type of guy.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and the stolen base thing is not new for Canarella. He's never been a big stolen base guy, which is abnormal, one, for a center fielder, and two, for a center fielder in the Marlins organization. So I think, find your footing offensively, which he's done a great job offensively. I think he carried a 12-game hit streak between high A to double A, so he picked up right where he left off. The transition wasn't too much for Cam, and once those stolen bases start coming, because he does get on base, he's going to be a whole other kind of issue.
Yeah, great defense in center field. We saw him make maybe a home run robbery in Columbus a couple weeks back. Really nice play, and he also brings some personality to the game. He's one of the guys who wears the war paint, the eye black. When I played in high school, I did just, single stripe of eye black. And I'm sure it really helped me bat 280 as an American Legion player. But what type of accoutrement would you have if you were able to decorate your face like Cam Canarella did?
Well, I don't know about now, but when I was in Little League, it was right when Bryce Harper was breaking into the league. So you better believe I had that eye black down to my chin. I felt so cool because Bryce Harper looked so cool at me. I felt awesome, and when I was in Little League, I was pretty darn good too. So I wasn't just a fool with a lot of eye black on my face. I had a lot of eye black on my face, and I was hitting doubles.
Yeah,
so it worked out. You have to match the look with your on-field play. Mm-hmm. Harper did it. I like to think I did it, and I would say Cam Canarella is doing it pretty darn well.
Another guy who likes to show off his flair on the field is an energy guy who joined the Blue Wahoos about a month ago, Juan Matthews. Juan Matthews came over in the offseason in a trade from the Yankees along with a couple of his current teammates, and he made quite a strong impression in that Rickwood game, his first Double-A home run and 5 RBI. He plays good defense at a couple different positions, and you're down closer to the dugout during the game because you're hopefully doing post-game interviews after wins. You've seen more than I have his personality. He's an energy guy.
Man, it's awesome. I mean, seeing Juan is a highlight, honestly. I'll stand by the batting cage during batting practice. He comes my way, I don't have to go to him. He'll come up to me and say, "What's going on, Poppy? How you doing?" All that stuff. I saw him putting rally caps on, his teammates doing the shark fin. He's just going up to him, taking the hat off and placing it back on the way he wants. You need those guys. I mean, Dillon Lewis Jr. is one of those guys, just friendly, energetic, looks like they're having fun the whole time they're out there. And Matthews, I don't even want to take away what he's done with the bat and with the glove, but the energy itself is such an important aspect of the game, and it makes it more fun to be at the park. So if things aren't going as well, or if things are going great, whatever it is, it lightens the mood. It's fun to be around, and he does such a great job on the personality side of things, as well as with the bat.
Well, I try to be a good mentor, leader, and broadcast partner to you, but it occurs to me, I've never asked you, "What's up, Poppy? How are you doing?"
Not too bad, Erik.
Hey, good.
How are you?
Good. I've checked that box now.
Yeah, it hits a little different coming from you, but
okay. Well,
accepted.
Blue Wahoos have gotten a lot of contributions on the pitching front, and they've gotten a lot of different late-inning, high-leverage contributions 9 different players have earned a save this year for the Blue Wahoos, and I think the desire would be to get Nigel Belgrave more success than he's had, but we've seen him turn around a little bit after a rocky start to his season. Belgrave has gotten the most save opportunities, but in a way, you can almost spin that as a positive, that the Blue Wahoos have 9 different guys that at various points this year they've trusted to protect a late lead.
100%. I think that's a huge vote of confidence because things don't always work out the way you hope. And if you put all your 9th innings on one guy, well, then you send that guy out there, it doesn't work. Panic mode. What do I do? The Wahoos can breathe a little bit. Colby Martin has been really good. Cade Bragg has been a fantastic left-handed arm. Luis Palacios, who knows? I know he's starting right now, but they might throw him out there for a 9th inning again. And then, of course, like you mentioned, Nigel Belgrave has started to turn it around a little bit, and we're really happy to see that. We love Nigel. He's a great guy. He's got really, really good stuff when he's able to put it where he wants. He's among the best relievers in minor league baseball, so I think it's a great asset to have 9 different guys. Send them out there for the 9th. See what happens.
Yeah, Jack Sellinger from the left-hand side, someone that the Blue Wahoos got to know last year and started this year on the injured list. But Jack Sellinger is a nice compliment to Cade Bragg on the left-handed side. It seems like it's hard to pick up his stuff, and he's had a lot of success as well.
Yeah, I mean, Selly it was great when he finally came off the injured list, especially in a league that doesn't have a ton of left-handed pitching. Just having that arm to begin with is so great, but Jack has really good stuff, and like with every pitcher, but when he's able to command it, he really does a good job, and he's a reliable arm out there. He is willing to go out 5th inning, 6th inning, 5 through 9, Jack is ready to roll, so he's been such a great asset to this team and just a big part of that bullpen.
Our special guest this week on Wahoos Weekly is Blue Wahoos outfielder Dillon Lewis, and we've seen him grow from April until now, leading the team in homers, very close to leading the entire league in home runs. It's been exciting to see him. What has stood out to you the most about the way his game has developed in 2026?
Man, even keel attitude, up and down game. Marlins and he, they all want to be power hitters, and Dillon Lewis has done a great job of being a power hitter. Sometimes that can come with a lot of strikeouts. Stay 72 come shine or rain. That's kind of what he does. That's what he's about, and it's going to aid him throughout his entire career until he gets to the big leagues, because he's going to get to the big leagues.
Yeah, he said preseason his goal was to have a 20-20 season, 20 homers, 20 stolen bases. At this rate, he might be there by the All-Star.
30-30, let's do it.
Let's do it. When we come back, we'll talk with Blue Wahoos outfielder Dillon Lewis here on Wahoos Weekly.
At A1 Automotive, we do it all kinds of repairs for all kinds of vehicles. We do AC repairs, we do suspensions, we do pre-purchase inspections. We'll diagnose your problem and get it fixed. Free brake inspection. We can provide financing for any work we do. Veteran-owned, military, and first responders discounts. A1 Automotive, 403 Beverly Parkway, Pensacola.
Gilmarine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gilmarine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
Welcome to Howard Young Flooring. We would like to invite you to visit our showroom and experience the perfect home flooring collection, where shopping is easy and fun. At Howard Young Flooring, we look forward to covering your future.
Nestled in the heart of Pensacola, Dorothy's is a one-of-a-kind, community-driven cocktail bar by Oasis, Florida, created to sustain vital HIV and STI care across the Florida Panhandle. Inspired by the Wizard of Oz, rooted in inclusion and dripping with character, Dorothy's is a welcoming space with award-winning Oz-inspired cocktails, food by Steel Pony Diner, and an unmatched atmosphere. Join us 7 days a week in downtown Pensacola, located directly across from Maritime Park and the Blue Wahoo Stadium.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wahoos Weekly. I'm Blue Wahoos broadcaster Erik Bremer, and this week our special guest is one of the top power hitters in all of minor league baseball, Dillon Lewis. Dillon, thanks for joining us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
It's been a fun year for you here in Pensacola, your first year in the Marlins organization, but before we talk about 2026, I want to start back at the beginning. How did you first fall in love with the game of baseball?
Yeah, so to take it way back, I guess, I think got into it like everybody, playing a little bit of everything, T-ball. Getting into the coach's pitch, and eventually you're on the field with the a kid throwing at you, and I think I can take it back to I went to a Yankee game when I was like 6 years old, and that was really like my first baseball memory, is being in the box suite at Yankee Stadium, and I kind of fell in love with it from there.
Yankees were your favorite team growing up?
Yes, they were.
All right, so eventually, of course, you end up in the Yankees organization, but as you got older, how did you establish that not only did you like baseball, but you were also pretty good at it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of took time. I always thought when I was younger, like I had the most fun playing it. That's why I kind of stuck with it. And I think that has some credit to do with being good, because baseball sucks when you're not having fun, And so just kind of stuck with it. And I kind of always my mindset wasn't really to get to a certain level. It was like, hey, I don't want my last game to be high school, and then it changed to college, and now it's I want to be able to control the terms of when I'm ready to be done playing the game. So.
What other sports did you play growing up?
Got a year of actual football in, hung the cleats up quick, scored a touchdown, I was good. And then basketball up until around high school, where I was living down in Florida at that point, and the best time to be outdoors for baseball was the time where every other sport was going on, so made that little transition.
I get the sense that you came from a pretty supportive household upbringing, so there was no lack of confidence in your ability. But how did you get the confidence that you could maybe make a living out of playing professional sports?
Oh, I mean, I think just enjoying the day-to-day bits of the game, enjoying the times where the game's not really rewarding you, or enjoying the time where it's like, hey, I feel like I'm on top of the world, but knowing that both days are going to come, both days are going to affect you equal, and then just going out there and enjoying being around your teammates, and making the most of them.
How did you end up playing college ball at Queens? Because there's not a ton of baseball players who have come out of there, but you've obviously done pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, so that's kind of a longer story, but the shorter version would be during COVID, I made a big jump right before. So that would have been a big summer going into my senior year of high school, and unfortunately, other circumstances made for that to be very difficult. And we had moved up to Charlotte that summer as well. So the relocating part, trying to find, just what would be the best fit? Because I got a lot of good people in my ear, just with advice like, hey, you need to be able to go somewhere where you can showcase your talent, you can play. And the opportunity came from Queens, and it was the right fit. It wasn't like a dream school, or hey, I really had this one in the cards until it happened. But I was able to go there, and with the mindset of I want to make the most of it, and it kind of worked out.
I have to say that, yeah, you did make the most of it. How did you get noticed? When were you first on the radars of different organizations?
Yeah, so even that was kind of after my sophomore year, going into my junior year. I had dealt with some injuries. I hadn't played as well as I'd liked my sophomore year. Made a big focus on hey, I need to be healthy. I want to attack things a different way. Kind of changed up the training over that summer, and I think it was a fall game we had before my junior year. I think there was a Yankee scout there actually, and he was there watching a pitcher on the other team, and I think I had hit a homer that day. And I didn't know anything about it moving forward, and a couple weeks later, I remember I was actually down in Tampa with my family for Thanksgiving, and got an email from him about attending a workout in the off, it was just an off season, not even a baseball workout, but just where they do measurements and things like that. And that was kind of the first time where I was like, oh, okay, this is a real possibility, And then throughout the spring, he definitely stayed in touch, and as the year kind of went on, more and more people started gaining ground, and all of a sudden 2 scouts turned into 25. So it was all a fun journey.
The Yankees are kind of part of your baseball origin story. You mentioned that you fell in love with the game when you went to a Yankees game as a kid, so that had to be a pretty memorable draft day when the Yankees called you and told you that they wanted you.
Yes, no, it definitely was. And it was leading up to it. There's so much uncertainty going into the draft, and especially you're not a day one pick. There's a million things that could happen. You're getting phone calls asking about money, asking about where these teams are going to take you. It's they're reaching out hey, they want an outfielder. I think a funny one would be I had heard after the second day going into the last 10, they were hey, if we don't take you, you'll be the first one. that next day. And so, you're kind of sitting there and you're eyeing like the teams you've been talking to, and the Yankees come up, and the round before Brendan was taken. So I was like, oh, did they just grab their outfielder? I guess that's out of the cards now, and then just sitting there. But being around, having the whole family around definitely was, it's worth it. And then just to kind of feel like a little bit of a full circle moment, it was a lot of fun.
Even coming from a big-time SEC or ACC program, everyone adjusts in their own way at their own time to pro ball.
Yeah.
But coming from a small college, although one that's clearly served you well, what was the adjustment like for you getting into pro ball and facing off against some of the best young players in minor league baseball?
Yeah, no, it's definitely an adjustment. I think it's like you have to learn your strengths very early. And I think the Yankees do a good job. Like, they did a good job of like making that clear to us. And I know that when I'm at my strengths, like there are going to be pitchers that are really good. They're going to be, people on the other team that do a lot of really good things, but it's like, hey, they're going to have to be able to, deal with my strengths at the same time, So, like the little things of like, I think just hitting with a wood bat all the time, that's a change. The sweet spot is a whole lot different than swinging those metal bats. But knowing like, hey, I can hit the ball hard, I can run well, I can play great defense, like sticking to those things like on a day in and day out basis definitely helps me mentally. Like, okay, well, I do these things at such a great level, now everything else can kind of come together.
You mentioned the sweet spot, and my ears perked up because you're one of the guys who uses the different torpedo bat. Kind of came from the Yankees organization. The guy who kind of pioneered it is actually in the Marlins organization. But what prompted you to give the torpedo bat a try, and what do you like about it?
Yeah, so I guess they had him around after we got drafted, and I kind of messed around a little bit with him. Wasn't really a big fan. I was like, oh, I need the little bit of the bat on the end like that. I felt like I was flying out, just missing. I'm like, yeah, I need that part of the bat. And then going into the next spring, I made a couple adjustments, I think, in my setup and my swing, and they had gotten a different like shipment come down to like the complex. So like they were kind of handing them out like candy. So I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and try them. And I think I had my best week of the spring, swinging a torpedo bat in the last week of the spring. Might have got hot too early, but from there on, I was like, oh, well, okay, this really has some benefits to it. And then throughout the year, just kind of like building the success on it, I think it kind of just made it easier mentally to be like, hey, this is what I've been swinging. It's what I've noticed how it works. I've noticed a little bit, even like it's like my contact point kind of moved down on the bat a little bit. If I swing a regular bat now, it's like I'm hitting it a little more off the hands. They're like, oh, I guess I'm getting used to it. But yeah, so just kind of trial and error and seeing success with it. I think that's half the battle.
You said that the Yankees did a really good job of establishing your strengths, focusing on the things that you're really good at. But at some point in every player's career, you have to also address the weaknesses. That's part of becoming what you hope to become in the long run. At what point did that transition occur, and what are you working on right now?
Yeah, so I guess, it's like we have access to everything, so we're able to see, the things that we do and don't do well. So it's like, okay, well, I guess the kind of how I've been coached almost is like, let your strengths pull your weaknesses up. It's like, if you don't need to think about, hey, I need to put the ball in play more, but it's like, hey, if I get my A swing off more often, like that naturally kind of comes with it, or it's like if you hit the ball hard more consistently, you're going to be making more contact because of that. So it's like trying not to get away too far, because it's like, you can do little things to like overhaul an approach, but a lot of the times, especially like, guys that even make it, they have a couple carrying tools, and then everything else, like, you get that to about where the league is, league average, and you're a really good player. So just every day, it's like I will devote a little bit of time like to like, trying to like work on like the contact, or maybe using more of the field, but then also like getting back to like, hey, well, let me make sure when I do get my swing off, it's going to be able to go exactly where I want it to go.
I asked you about your draft day story. Now I want to hear your trade day story, because you were involved in a big trade this past offseason that sent you and a couple other prospects from the Yankees to the Marlins organization. Had to be disappointing a bit for someone who grew up a Yankees fan to leave that organization, but also you have to be flattered that an organization wanted you to the point where they included you in that deal.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the trade day story was pretty funny, because it's a long off season. Trades happen and stuff goes down. It's not like the deadline where like it cuts off at 6 o'clock. The moves are gonna be made. Off season, you're just at home. You're just going about your life, and you're kind of expecting things to be normal, kind of not. So my grandparents live in Tampa, where spring training is for the Yankees, and I was down there at the beginning of January. I actually left like some bats, gloves, like just some stuff that like, oh, I'll leave it in the garage. I'll come get it when I come down in a couple weeks. And then actually while we were down there, I think there was some rumors of a different trade, and I think my name had been in it from time to time. So like, I didn't really try to think too much into it, but like, I mean, my dad was asking questions. People were like, hey, is this like stuff? I'm like, I don't know anything. Well, anyways, I think it ended up being the Casey deal. It was like with the Cubs or something like that. But the whole other trade went down. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm out of the woods, right? And I'm at home like a week or so later, and I get a call from the Yankees, and I was like, oh, because you don't have the front office numbers saved, so it's just like, it says Tampa, New York Yankees. I'm like, okay, what's this about? And I pick up, and the guy he answers with a pretty high tone. He's like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, hey, I'm doing well. And he actually in that call was like, hey, we're gonna be inviting you to spring training with us that day. So I was like, oh, like that's really great. That's something that, it's a lot of hard work has gone into that, pays off, and also kind of a new set of, I'd say, challenges and, opportunities. So like that was a big deal, because that's like the first time being in the clubhouse around those guys that I've seen, when I was on TV, or seen on TV, I've been growing up as a fan. And then they're like, we'll get back to more details. So go about my day. I only told a handful of people, just waiting. And then they end up calling back later that day. So I was like, oh, okay, they must be, just calling back about some more details, right? And I looked, and the second 3 digits were different. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And picked up that call, and it was a much different tone from our director of play development. He was like, hey, yeah, you're a Marlin, pretty much, and you congratulated me on getting myself to that point, and acknowledge all the work that it took. But, at the end of the day, the message was the message, and, you are now with the Miami Marlins. So that was a crazy, it all happened within about 5 hours, crazy, range of emotions. And, you think everything's figured out one day, and then, a couple hours later, it's, back to the business. So it was an interesting day, but definitely a blessing.
It's always an adjustment to move to a different organization, just as it is to go from amateur ball to pro ball. But I would have to imagine it's been made a little bit easier by the fact that the other 3 prospects involved in that trade that came to the Marlins organization are all with the Blue Wahoos right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think from the jump, even then, it was right after the trade, they were all finding out at the same time. Brendan, he was actually my roommate right after the draft down in Tampa. So, we were bouncing things back and forth, and we didn't know something. We were probably texting each other 10 times a day trying to, figure stuff out. And then, even trying to come down to little things like in spring training, finding somewhere to live, having roommates, being in a clubhouse with at least one person that's already familiar, and then, you get to branch off from there. But yeah, it definitely was a really, really special experience to have other teammates. And now with Hasso and Juan being here as well, it's you look around, and as new and unfamiliar as things get, it's you still have these people that, I've kind of known throughout my whole journey.
Everyone's working on things at AA, but in terms of results, you were the fastest to 10 home runs in a single season in Blue Wahoos history. And this is a very pitcher-friendly league, or at least that's its reputation. So what has clicked for you this year to put together those power numbers that no one has ever seen here in Pensacola before?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of the byproduct of the work, kind of understanding myself better, understanding how what I need to attack, what pitches, I can hunt. And then just kind of dialing in where my swing needs to play in order to, get the ball where I want to hit it. And I think it took some time to do that last year. It kind of took a minute to get things going. But this year, having that understanding and coming into the season, hey, these guys are good, but hey, also, I'm good as well. It's was able to kind of get the most out of it.
You've had a couple big moments, but for me, the most memorable day to this point in the season was the Rickwood game at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, oldest ballpark in America. You weren't in the starting lineup, but you did get into that game and you hit a home run. How cool was that?
Oh, it was great. I mean, just from the second that we stepped off the bus and got to that stadium, the history and all the workers and ushers that worked there, they were encyclopedias themselves. They were talking about all the Hall of Famers that had played there. The amount of people that have just come through that, and especially just the impact that it has on baseball. So to be able to get out there and, step in that batter's box where the greats have been in, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and all those people, I've been in at some point. Definitely was a little surreal. And then obviously to get in there and make an impact and perform and kind of have a memorable day as well personally. It was special.
Baseball has trends that kind of ebb and flow where there's an abundance of a certain type of player and not too many of the other. Right now, it seems that there aren't too many power-hitting, right-handed hitting outfielders that are having good seasons in Major League Baseball. You are one of those guys. So before we go, I want to ask you what a good final half of the 2026 season looks like and what goals you think are within your grasp before the end of the year.
Yeah, I think definitely, I kind of, last year I think I kicked it off. I had 20 homers, 20 stolen bases. I made that a point to, hey, I want that to be my identity. That's what I'm going to show up to do is I hit homers, steal bases, and also play really good defense. So to just kind of continue in those areas to keep, progressing. And then I'd say the other parts are just like filling in the in-between time, making sure I'm taking my walks, making sure, my approach to the plate is good where, if we're facing an arm or, you're not going to be able to sit there and hit a bunch of homers or, the wind's blowing in 50 miles an hour, you still are able to be a productive offensive player. So just kind of like filling those little holes in. And then, like you said, holding to kind of my three, I'd say that like my three goals that I kind of go after every single year and kind of keeping that the main thing.
Finally, before we go, a lot of people who have gotten to where you want to be look back fondly at their time in Pensacola as being a really special minor league ballpark, minor league community. How has your time in Pensacola treated you so far?
It's been great. I think the people are amazing. I think you play right there on the water. Like it's really nice. You get a good view from the batter's box, center field, dugout, like everywhere. And I think it's special. Like it's a really really tight-knit community. I think the people like enjoy coming to watch the Wahoos play, and that feels good. Even when you're on deck and you hear somebody like give you a compliment or say, hey, you've been doing this really well. It makes a difference. So definitely like a little, I like it. I like the pace of the town, and having the beach right here is also awesome. So there's a lot going on. It's really good.
Well, just as our fans have enjoyed having you here in Pensacola, thanks for joining us today on Wahoos.
Of course. Thank you.
And thank you. We'll see you next week.